welcome back to another video. I'm Akhil. I'm a real estate agent in the Los Angeles area, and these videos are to document my learnings throughout any variety of things. First, let's go over a very interesting situation that I'm currently in, and that is the closing of my first MLS lease not being paid out. So, I don't think I referenced this lease closing, but this is the final lease closing that I just recently did a couple months ago. I would say probably about 2 months ago, and sometime in January, maybe late December. And during this lease, so I met this client door knocking actually, and they weren't even at the house. They were just walking on like the street side, and then I said hi to them, and then they actually ended up wanting to move down to Huntington Beach. If you know where that is, that's really far. It's almost like an hour and a half away. But yeah, they said they wanted to do that in about like 6 months, and this was like 8 months ago we're talking about now. And yeah, I just kept following up, and then finally this the person decided to let's move to move. And so I scheduled all the showings for around Huntington Beach, and I just told the client to go, and I let the agent host the show, the listing agent host the showings. And they eventually found something they liked, and it was an on MLS lease. And yeah, it was my first MLS transaction. So if you go onto my Compass page now, I have at one lease on there that shows up. So the funny thing about this is it's been 2 months, and the landlord is basically essentially not paying the commission out to the listing agent or to any of the brokers, so the listing agent or the selling agent. So this is kind of the fault of the listing agent. The instructions, normally the tenant's supposed to write 3 different checks so that everybody gets their commission on time, so that the landlord doesn't do this. But the landlord decided to do it. And by the way, we're talking about a very, very cheap lease. We're talking about it's like a $2,500 lease. So it's like literally, it's dirt cheap. It's nothing. It's like 2,200 or 2,500. I can't remember. So it's really low. And yeah, the commission that I would actually get is it's probably around like $150. And it's funny that the landlord's like basically refusing to pay it. So that's that's the story of my first lease. That was an MLS lease. Like, it's the first MLS lease, right? That I still haven't gotten a commission for, and it's already been 2.5 months. So anyway, yeah, that's a funny story, I guess. All right, let's get started with door knocking. So there's a couple new things that I learned and I'm implementing. One of them is being able to knock the amount of doors in a shorter period of time. So this has been getting progressively a little bit harder to actually implement, but I noticed if I run between all of the doors, like basically fast walk, not running because otherwise you'll be out of breath, but if I basically speed walk between the doors, I essentially save like about 30 to 40 minutes. So I can, instead of 3 hours it takes to door knock 100 doors, it'll only take basically 2.5 hours to door knock 100 doors. So yeah, that's basically the new strategy. It's been hard to implement specifically because if I want to speed walk and actually save that amount of time, it has to be in one it has to be like one street, and it's kind of hard. Sometimes it's like I have to do 50 here, I have to do 20 here, I have to do 10 here, and it's kind of patch by patch. And at that point, because the travel time is in between, you end up losing the time anyway. Even though you speed walk, it still takes up a lot of time because there's in between time that you're stopping and you're not door knocking. So yeah, it's that's the hardest part to implement it. And the other hardest thing is when you start to speed walk, when you get to the later, like once you pass about 50, that you speed walk, you start to actually get tired. And yeah, it's like you kind of get out of breath. So you kind of slow down a little bit, and that obviously reduces the average. So yeah, the current average door knocking, so the fastest average I've ever had is 1 minute 27 seconds. I think it was 1 minute, around 1.5 minutes is the fastest average that I've had for each door basically. So it's the average that I'm talking about is, so if you take the total time it took me to door knock and you divide it by the amount of doors, you'll get an average. And the average the fastest average that I've ever had is about 1 minute and 30 seconds per door. The slowest I've ever had is obviously multiple minutes, because those days I had really good conversations, and that obviously changed the average. But in general, I tried to stay below 2 as the door knocking average. Just my average, my normal session is around below 2, so around 1 minute 50 seconds, around 2 minutes. But yeah, if I reduce that average by like about 30 seconds, I save 30 minutes. So anyway, as I was saying before, faster walking is a little harder to implement than I would like it to be. Anyway, I also started, as I was referencing in the last video, I also started door knocking a new area, and that would be Northridge. So I decided upon an area that was close by to me, and Northridge happened to be that area. This is right now I actually kind of really intrinsically know the Northridge market because I've been working with this, well, with the buyer, and this buyer really likes the Northridge area specifically. So I've been seeing everything that comes out. I've been talking to the agents. I've been seeing the properties, and what I noticed is, so Northridge right now, I know all these economists will tell you that real estate's crashing, nobody's buying any properties. But if you go to Northridge, you see a renovated property, it's getting multiple offers and going over asking right now. It's also happening in, like, certain areas in like Beverly Hills and other areas too. But specifically in Northridge, renovated properties are going way, way over asking, and they're getting multiple offers. It's a very competitive market right now. And so basically, where I'm going with this is that I'm going to door knock in this area because I feel like the iron is really hot right now. There's so much demand for that area. For all types of properties, mainly the renovated properties. There's less of a demand for the ones that are not renovated, but there's still a huge demand just in general for that area. And I feel like there's just not that many listings compared to what the demand is. Oh yeah, and the new plan for that is going to be 3 days door knocking below in the Los Angeles area near Beverly Grove, and then 2 days door knocking in Northridge. Northridge is definitely one of the slightly more expensive areas in the valley. It's not the most expensive because if you go down to Sherman Oaks, Studio City, there's more expensive properties for like the same type of square footage. But it's really good for door knocking because it's all flat, and also not many people. I can clearly see that not many people door knock that area compared to Beverly Grove. It's very clear. Like sometimes I see many flyers of other agents. They get mailers all the time. I can clearly see, like, when I go to Northridge, they don't get as many door knockers because the reactions are slightly different. They're surprised to see a door knocker. It's clear that this is a better. It's definitely less competitive, so it might be a better. Obviously the prices are significantly lower per square footage compared to Beverly Grove, but it's definitely I think it's a worth it thing to do for 2 days, and I save time. Next, I want to go over my open house follow-up strategy. So I'm not sure if I have the best strategy or the worst strategy, but I do have a strategy that I've been implementing. From what I've seen, this is the one that trims out the most fat and gets to the real leads the soonest. And it also, just reveals who is actually like somebody's going to buy down the line, or what's the situation. And I think it reveals that information faster than any other strategy I've ever used. So the current strategy is for any neighbor that comes in, and a little bit of context. Whenever somebody comes in, the first question I ask is, how did you hear about the open house? Normally, this you can immediately say. If somebody's coming from Zillow, they're probably not a neighbor. If somebody just saw the sign, they probably live in the area. So then you can follow up with, hey, did you live? If they say, I just saw a sign, then you say, oh, are you a neighbor? And then obviously you can tell from there. And then the next question after that, after how did you hear about the open house, is who's your agent, right? So if they say, I don't really have an agent right now, I just started looking, you can kind of tell that earlier in the process. It might be a good lead, or it might just be somebody who's just looking around at properties and they've seen like a ton of properties. They're just there for fun. It's hard to say, but that's why you ask that question, just to see. If they say, oh yeah, I have an agent, his name is so and so, then obviously this is not going to be the most optimal lead, because even if you follow up with them, you never want to be the person who's trying to steal clients or anything like that. So I tend to just, like, anytime I follow up with the people who like clearly say, oh yeah, I have an agent, his name is XYZ. If it's like very clear. Some people just say like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about it. I think I have an agent, but it's like my brother's friend. Then I think it's like, okay, they don't actually clearly have an agent that's actually helping them. Then it's worth it to pursue it as a lead. But if it's like they say, oh yeah, XYZ is my agent, then I think it's more worth it just to keep the follow-ups that you do after that as strictly about the property that in question. So let's just say I'm holding an open house on XYZ Street, or 123 XYZ Street. That's what it is. Okay. Then any follow-up I do following to that would be related to 123 XYZ Street. It'll be, okay, hey, we just had a price reduction. Hey, we just got an offer. Hey, we just got into escrow. Would you like to put in a backup offer? Something like that. That way, it's like I'm not aggressively trying to pursue them as a lead, but I'm also, if they are willing to open up, or they were actually not being truthful at the start, then it'll show over time. But yeah, in terms of if they are a neighbor and they come in, they sign in their information, I normally do a 14 and 30 days. So what I'll do is I'll first send them a thank you, and then 3 days after I'll send them something else, and then I'll wait another 14 days and then send them some information about the area, and then I'll wait 30 days and send them some information about the area again, about something that just listed, something that just came out, something that just got an escrow, if the property in question just got an escrow, all of this. And then I just continually follow up every 30 days. And it becomes pretty easy because eventually you can just like kind of you can just, I just tag each open house, and then I just essentially wait for some of them, do some of them early so that everybody's at 30 days. And then I just essentially just, copy paste the same text every 30 days for the 28 neighbors that came in. So that's the strategy I've been using for neighbors. And then for leads, I follow up the immediate minute they leave the open house. If I can, if it's busy, then I follow up in like right when the open house is ending. I stay in I switch off switch off the lights and close the doors, but I stay there and I do all the follow-ups right then and there. And then immediately after that, the next day I follow up. I do texts. Most of the time I text for the first 2 days. And then the third day, if they're not responding, then I call. And then again, the following day I'll text and then call and then text and then call and if they're not responding at all, then I'll just like essentially just space it out a little bit more. Like I'll just call and text every other day. And if they're really just like, it's just like a total blank lead, like they just put in wrong information, that normally reveals itself within the first day. They put in wrong information, the second you call them, it'll just like go to a wrong number. And the second you text them, it won't even, like you can kind of just tell it's like a normal text message. Most people have iPhones, so yeah. And then, yeah, I just follow up pretty much. The goal is just to follow up as much as possible without being like too like aggressive, in the sense that you don't want them to block you, because that's happened to me before. But you also don't want them to not know that you exist, right? Most people need to be reminded to do anything. I know myself, like if somebody sends me properties, I'm definitely not gonna check it out the second they send it to me. I have other stuff to do. So if they keep reminding me, then I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, actually, that's a good point. I should check this out, and then I'll check it out at some point. So yeah, that's what I do. And then for any agents that walk in the door, I generally don't do any like real follow-ups, to be honest. I'll maybe follow up the next day or next couple of days. But if an agent walks in the door with a client, then there's like, I mean, yeah, if you're a listing agent, I guess it makes sense to keep following up with every single agent that comes in with their client. But I feel like that's a little bit time consuming, honestly. And since it's like there's not much I don't think there's much of an actual benefit to that, in terms of, especially if I'm not the listing agent. It wouldn't make much sense if I did it. So yeah, that's pretty much all my follow-ups for the open houses. So I was very close to writing my first offer recently, and I think I learned a lot from the experience, actually. So one of the clients that I was talking about before, the ones that were actually really serious about buying, these clients, there's a property that they saw previously that just came back on the market, and they were considering like really strongly putting an offer in. The problem is, like I said, this property is in Northridge, and this specific property is renovated, and it's they actually rejected offers that were like within like a few $1,000s of the asking price. So the asking price is already like $100,000 over market value to begin with. So yeah, this is like they're basically asking something that's like crazy for the house, and that's why they were heavily considering it. There's also some damage with the house, so there's like some termite damage and other things, and there's also some roof repair needed. So yeah, there was a few different aspects of it, and they were very close to writing an offer. They were very close to making the decision to write an offer, but yeah, I think that now we're just going to hold off and wait until the following open house of the weekend. But during the experience, my team lead was there actually in the office at the same time. I just happened to be in the office during the same time, so I talked to her about it. We called up the listing agent. We asked questions about it. Yeah, there was just like the experience itself was very interesting, because the listing agent then sent the inspection reports. We reviewed it. We sent it to clients. And then I put the clients on a call with Jenny, so I got to basically listen in and see what she says and all of that. And I think it was a very good learning experience. I guess the main takeaways was that you want to get as much information from the listing agent as possible, without like sounding like, and you also want to make it so that it seems like the client, it's not their only option. There's multiple other options, so you still have leverage. And also from the listing agent side, I think this listing agent, it was a very experienced listing agent, so they did a pretty solid job. They spoke about the property very positively, and even though there were many repairs, the listing agent said it in a way that the repairs did not seem like such a big deal. And even though the property was way overpriced, the listing agent, when he was speaking made it seem like, this is the price that it's worth. We just got multiple offers, blah, blah, blah. And the listing agent really did a good job. And I think Jenny also did a really good job too. And I think it was just a great learning experience to see how, this process works, honestly. And on my side, what I think I can do for next time is to understand more thoroughly some of the inspections and some of the things that are actually, going to be causes for concern, instead of being more, because I was more focused on like, okay, we got to write this offer, because I've never actually written the offer. I've drafted a template before, but I was actually more concerned about, okay, how do I actually write the offer and get it written out correctly, rather than, okay, is this even a worth it offer to put in? That's what I think I'd focus more on, because I went through it. The offer is not that challenging to write. It's written in plain English, so with a little bit of writing and obviously with my team lead's help, it'll be all good. All right, now I want to go over connecting with people. So why do I want to go over this? What is the point of going over this? Well, I think in recent interactions, it's been very, very clear to me that connecting with people is the utmost, most important thing, I guess, in this industry to getting business, right? So I think if I actually really look at it, I think my ability to connect to people is what's hindering me from progressing further, if I really think about it, because I feel like the ability to connect with people allows you to get more leads for the work you put in. So what I mean by this is I recently went on basically just like a pocket listing showing with my team lead, and her ability to connect with people was like crazy. She has like a natural talent for connecting with people. And she's like really good at connecting people. Like, instantly there was a connection. They started talking about things that they both found in common, and those types of conversations I don't really have myself. And after witnessing that, I feel like there's a lot of improvement on my end to get better at connecting with people. I feel like in terms of actually relating to people on the subjects that they care about is very important, and I think I need to improve that skill tremendously, because I don't think it's necessarily a deficiency, but I don't think I lack the natural talent to just connect with everybody. So I got to learn that properly and develop that skill. Door knocking has obviously helped, and I've gotten a lot better at conversating and actually holding conversations relevant to people's subjects that they're interested in. But right now I think this is the main thing I just need to improve, because if I really look at it, it's most of my like even in door knocking and most of my interactions, I've always been like, okay, I say exactly what I already planned out to say, and then they respond in a certain way, and then I try to keep it within like the outline. But what I've seen is the best interactions that people have, whether it be like in door knocking with Danny, or other interactions with clients with Jenny or whatever. I've seen that there's no like script you can really follow, and there's no model that you can really assimilate to every single situation. It kind of just goes like it flows how it flows, and you can't really decide where it's going to flow to. So I think it's getting used to being able to go unscripted and still connect with people, and just basically like learning outside the box. But that is something I haven't been able to maximize my learning on, and that's what I'll keep trying to improve. I think it'll just happen with time. I think I just need to have more conversations with more people, and develop that skill more. Also, on the same note, I tend to make mental shortcuts. I noticed this about myself. So like, okay, on a script, it'll be like, have you had any thoughts of buying, selling, or even renting? Like, that's my current script actually that I'm using for door knocking. And if I wait like 100 doors and I do that script, by the end of the 100th door, I end up making a mental shortcut, and instead of making those like changes in pitch that I just mentioned, I say, have you had any thoughts of buying, selling, even renting? I kind of just like shorten it and make it like a mental shortcut. And I just, it progressively over time, eventually I end up deleting words, because just to make it faster. Have you had any thoughts of buying, selling, or renting? Like, that's what it'll end up becoming. But what did it start with? Have you had any thoughts of buying, selling, or even renting? To, have you had any thoughts of buying, selling, or renting? Like, and that's what happens when I keep going repetitively. So I have to really think about it and make sure that I don't make any mental shortcuts to on the scripts that I use, and what I'm saying. That's very important. That's what I need to do. I don't know if that was conveyed very well. Oh yeah, some random efficiency boosts that I learned of. Okay, this is going to be very important. Okay, time is of the essence. The only thing that matters in life is time, right? So I want to maximize my time. Well, of course, I'm a busy person. I have to work. I have to work out. I have to cook and eat. So how can I be more efficient? Well, some random efficiency boosts I noticed is I hate cleaning. So I bought this like $200, $250 robot thing that does the vacuuming. And it's the best purchase ever. It saves so much time. And then I hate dicing vegetables. Okay, every time, so I stir fry vegetables at night and I eat those, right? So every time I have to sit down and cut that vegetables, it takes like 25 minutes. It's so stupid. And I got this awesome dicer thing where you just like take it and then it's like so amazing. It saves me so much time. It takes 5 seconds to do this. I like cut the onion in half, boom, put it right there, bang, hit it once, done. And then I just shove it in, and that's it. That's literally it. It's so much time saved. And I could probably go over like 1,000 other like little tiny things that I probably do, like in my spreadsheets and stuff. I format it in a way so it's the maximum efficiency. I format the layout of my my organizing my table and my closet so it's maximum efficiency. I only have one little rack that that has my clothes on it, and I only have the 6 clothes that I like to wear, the 6 shirts that I like to wear, the 4 pants that I like to wear, and the 3 jackets, but I only ever use one that I like to wear. And I only ever use the second one if I like feel like, okay, the first one's dirty, so I gotta wash it. So that's been the only time I use the second one. I have the exact number of like shirts that I use at home right here. That's 5, and I have the exact number of socks that I use, and I calculated it, and I managed my everything so that I have the exact number. So I fit it all right here. It's just one tiny area. So I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to search. I know exactly what I'm going to wear the day before because I have it in a row, and I wear one thing right here the first day. It's like a first in, first out. So I wear this one, and then I put that right here. And then the next one comes in. And I wear this one, and I put that right here. And once every so often, I wash all of them at the same time in one day. And then the same thing with the pants. I have 4, and it's like the first in, first out method. I use this one, and then once it's done, I put it here, and then now I use the next one, and then I do that again. So it's like maximum efficiency. I hate having to sit down and work. It always hurts my back, so I stand up. But who has the time to buy a standing desk? That's very expensive. Okay, so I have boxes and I have papers, and guess what? I got these papers for free. Okay, there are methods to get papers for free, mainly through office buildings. Anyway, so I have these papers and I have boxes on top, and it's the maximum perfect setup, and it's exactly the way I like it. It's the exact same mouse that I love using, and it's the exact same keyboard that I love using. It's always the same. To top it all off, I eat the exact same set of meals since I'm on a cut right now. I've been eating the exact same layout of meals every single day, pretty much, for the last like 20 days. And I've been doing this and I love it. So, egg whites in the morning with a little bit of cheese, black pepper, and salt. And then I eat raisins and like a snack in between. I eat raisins, bananas, potentially guavas if I have them, and any other potential fruits right there. And I make sure that's a very small, type of category. And then at night, I fast like basically all the entire time until night. And then I eat like, some ground meat and then stir fry vegetables. And I've been eating the exact same meal for the last 15 days. It's amazing, super efficient. The only problem is there's cooking time with the ground beef that I'm eating right now. It takes like, if I'm cooking 6 pounds at once, that lasts about 4 to 5 days. It takes about, an hour and a half to cook. So there is that cooking time. And yeah, that's the only inefficiency there is the cooking time that it takes. And the cutting vegetables, which I kind of solved the problem now. And the washing dishes. That stuff that really sucks. So yeah, maximum efficiency. Now I'm going to discuss the biggest issue I've ever had in my entire life. Okay? This is it. This is the issue that I always have. Okay? And the only time it's ever been fixed is during school, where I was required to follow this strict regimen. But ever since then, since I dropped out of school, I've never been able to fix this. Only temporarily for like maybe like 5 days, 6 days, but not permanently. And that is going to bed on time, and then by definition waking up on time. So the problem that I always have is, okay, I always at nighttime end up adding random stuff to do that is not like actually things that are necessary to do, but it's just like things that I feel like are necessary to do but aren't actually necessary to do. An example is like washing dishes. I could leave it for the next day, but I'm here. I'm right here. What? Am I lazy? No. I'm going to do it right now. So I do it right then. And then it adds an extra 30 minutes. And then I'm like, my table's so messy. What the hell? I can't live like this. What is this? I clean up my entire table. Another 15 minutes gone. Okay. Gosh darn it. Why does my closet look like this? What? Closet. Why does my rack look like this? What is this? This is a total mess. I clean that. 20 minutes later. It's so dirty around here. What is this? 20 minutes. It keeps adding, and it's like always random little things. I remember I need to do this. Let me go on my computer and let me just type this thing up. And then I get distracted by my computer. Oh, amazing! I need to actually implement this thing. That's so smart. Oh wait, I forgot to add my door knocking metrics for yesterday. What the heck am I doing? Like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then by the time I know it, it's 12 o'clock. I'm like, what? Where did the time go? Ah, shit. Well, I gotta go to bed. This is the biggest problem I've ever had. Biggest issue I've ever had is this: sticking to time frames at nighttime and actually going to bed on time. I always do productive things, but it's like not at the right time, right? Like I cut out content. Obviously, I don't watch any content anymore. I don't do anything unproductive. If it's unproductive, I cut it out. There's no entertainment, no nothing, none of that. But I always find random things that are quote unquote productive, but aren't actually to do. That is like fixing random metrics, doing this, doing that, organizing this random thing, cleaning this, cleaning that. Like these are things that are just delaying my night, and yeah, it always screws up my morning because I can't function without 8 hours of sleep. If I get 6 hours, I get super tired and it's just like shit. So I need 8 hours, and then when you go to bed at 12, you use 8 hours. What happens? Obviously, it just pushes past, and then you gotta get ready. It's like by the time I'm ready and everything, it's already 9 o'clock. What the hell is this? It's a waste of time. So yeah, that's how am I gonna fix this? Well, I tried multiple different methods. Uh, I tried a lot of different methods. Trying to put an alarm so you go to bed at this specific time, but then on some days the alarm goes off and I'm in the middle of cooking. I haven't even eaten yet, and there's no way I can make it in time. So I think it really just comes down to I actually have to stick to it and just do it right. And I think that's with everything, whether it be like working, cutting out content, cutting out random other shit that you do. I think it all comes down to just actually just doing it. And I guess I've been making excuses here, but yeah, I gotta actually just fix that. This is like it's getting out of hand at some point. Sometimes I'm just going to bed at 2 o'clock and I just been like working on random things that don't even matter. And by the time I go to bed, it eats into my next day because I can't door knock at the right time. I don't get to door knock as hot as much doors, and it's just yeah. I gotta fix it. I gotta fix it. It's something I gotta fix.